Oh, it's 7 o'clock according to this, that clock.
All right, we're gonna get this meeting started as regular council meeting of September 7th, 2021.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please, Liz.
Mayor Laughlin,
Here.
Councilperson Sexton,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Goodweiler, Stulman.
Here.
Okay, we're gonna start our meetings a little bit differently from now on, I believe. We need to approve the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
John, is there a second? Nick, a second? We have to vote on that then, right? This is how a lot of other cities do it, so we're gonna do it. Roll call, please, Leslie.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Okay. The consent agenda consists of minutes from the August 16th meeting, city council meeting, the appointment of Sherry Hike to the library board of trustees, the West Branch High School homecoming parade route and special events permit, the fall sidewalk sales special event permit, and we have an agreement between the city of West Branch and the West Branch Lions Club for constructing a flag storage shed at the cemetery. And the claims are included in the June monthly financial reports. Someone give me a motion. And then we'll talk about it.
So moved.
Colton,
I'll second.
okay. There's no other comments on any of those other items. The item E, the agreement between the Lions Club. So Attorney Olson forwarded an agreement. The Lions would like to modify it slightly, which you have in front of you. Handwritten. That would be the modification. So I guess I'm fine with it. Basically spells out that the city will build the shed. The Lions Club will cover the cost of materials. That's what it says. That's the changes, more specifically.
I got a question for Matt. Matt, you got time to build this?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah, it's one of the projects that we have just worked on the schedule, so.
All right. I guess the question I have is how did we end up being on the hook for building this? I mean, originally it was just something the Lions Club was gonna do and we were just providing a place for it to happen.
I guess
Go ahead, Matt.
so. They approached us, then between me, Redmond, we had discussed it. In the past, we talked about adding on to our shed. So instead of them building a temporary or a shed that would be movable up there, we're adding on to that shed. And then as in there, if they're ever done doing this, then the shed is ours. So it's just giving them a better, but that was kind of the compromise there. And where we got involved with it is that we said we'd build it if that's what we were doing, is attaching it to our shed as like a third stall to that building. So.
I mean, I guess that's the way they're doing it. I guess that's preferable if we're gonna build something onto something.
Yeah.
that we own.
It's our building.
Yeah, it's not, it won't be
Good.
detached. It will not be open to the other side of our building. So it'll be attached, but kind of standalone. So if they ever were to move out, we could put a door in if we needed to, but I don't see that as being an issue.
So I guess we need to vote on these changes, or
I move that we accept the amended agreement from the Lions Club.
is there a second? Nick, we're gonna vote on that amendment. Then we'll vote on the entire consent agenda. So go ahead, Leslie, we'll vote on the Colton's amendment.
Okay, Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Colton. So now we will vote on,
I got a
yeah,
question
go
on
ahead. I need to think. Claims?
claims. Lynch's bill is, I don't know, it seems kind of high. Why? Was there extra work that was involved there?
That's the east side. It's not,
Oh,
it's the east side water main.
okay. That makes more sense. That's
Well,
the green
it's-
View Drive. Like, whoa.
Is that correct?
The larger, yeah, there's a bigger one on there.
Yeah.
What is it? In the 50s?
100.
Yeah, it's that one is the east side.
So it's labeled wrong as far as,
Yeah, it's not the
Slightly.
yeah.
Greenview one. I think that should. Yeah, that bigger one is for the east side.
Okay.
So another thing we're going to be seeing more at these minute meetings is the bank statement, as well as the clerk's report for the month of June, say. That's one of the yellow lines, horizontal lines. Lisa Ricketson, who's been helping Heidi, has advised that that gets put into the official record. So this will be put into the official record as minutes. And the auditors, it makes the auditors happy. Gordon before was just sending those out to us on email. And whether we looked at them or not was on our own. But this proves that we had to have looked at it a little bit.
I have a couple of other questions.
Go ahead.
So size and tree service, how did they separate residential with the cities? Because a lot of work was done at the same time.
We did it hourly rate instead, or daily rate instead of, and I just kept track of the days and their working hours.
Yeah, but during the day, they would also do, being they were at that property, they would do that property's tree service also. Corner of Main and 6, not just City Street trees got taken down.
That's how it's based off an hourly rate. We didn't go straight, like if he was in town 8 hours one day and he worked 6 hours on city trees, he didn't charge us for 8 hours, and then he charges for the 6 hours. We just kind of kept track of that, and then at the end, we charged for the amount of days he's in town. He charges us a rate per day, and that's what the hours added up to, and that's how we did it. Which was cheaper than paying him to take down each tree, grind trees, haul off the debris from grinding for stumps. That's how we did it. But no, we weren't paying for private trees.
And then I looked that one up.
Yeah, you have a little bit of faith there that everybody's keeping track properly. Them.
Well, when
As
you
well.
see a $68,000,
That's a lot.
it kind of sticks out. Jumps right out there.
It's a lot of that's carryover from the derecho last year. We still didn't have the cemetery cleaned up. I'd have to get the actual count, but somewhere around 60 stumps that he ground in the cemetery. And then another, I'd have to look at papers, but he took down a large amount of trees in the cemetery. And hauled them off. And a big chunk of that was from the derecho. It wasn't just from all the tree work that we wanted done.
I just want,
No, I get it. It's a lot of money, so that's,
there was a lot of work going on, but it was also residential and city work. And I just,
And I did my best to keep track of. what
That's
he was
fine.
doing, and
I just,
He kept track of it.
when I saw this, I was like, oh,
Oh, that's understandable.
all right.
Matt knew it was gonna be a big one, and he knew it. He saw it coming. Okay, any other comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, let's vote.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Veenster and Kim lot site plan review, $32,000.
And I guess that might be mislabeled. There's probably multiple bills within that. And that might have been the first thing that popped up because we get bills from them monthly and one of them is usually a lot
lot of
site
that
plan,
could
which is
be-
usually only like $30 of that.
Is it only shown as one?
Yeah,
Because
a lot of
there's
it's gotta be.
probably 10 or 12 that I coded not too long ago. And there are multiple things for Parkside Hills, Logan Ridge, Greenview Connection, basically all that, I think, lumped together in there.
Okay.
There were, I'm sorry, this is Heidi.
Go ahead.
There were 11 invoices in total, and the way it is, it usually grabs the first description of that packet for that vendor. So as Matt said, there were several invoices for different projects.
The program grabs the first description, you said?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we've gone through this before. It's not very.
Yeah.
Why does it always pick a little stupid thing though to put there? Not, you know, if,
Wastewater.
yeah, if it was wastewater treatment plant, we'd be like, eh.
Yeah, I wish there was a better way to deal with that, but. Okay,
Barnhart do with the brush pile.
We had them push it off, it was getting to where we couldn't move it. We were having too much stuff.
Push it
That
off,
time- that time
$32,000 to
someone
push it
was
off.
It was
In with it.
multiple. It was multiple things, it wasn't just that.
I looked that up.
Oh, it's coming.
It was Cubby Park, some of
Okay.
Cubby Park work. In with
oh,
that,
that's Cubby Park work also,
yeah.
which is buried deep in this other, farther on down the report here, probably.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
this,
there.
this would be a lot more clerical if we could have more of a breakdown of.
Well, actually, it is.
You gotta go through the
all way
next,
down here.
yeah,
Yeah, it goes.
you gotta
like
go
fund
through
by
each
fund.
one of those individually
Yeah, you gotta find it.
and find what you're looking for.
I don't do that every time. Okay. I think we're ready to move on. Let's vote on the consent agenda then, please.
Councilperson Miller.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
Stulman.
Yes,
Sexton.
Yeah. All right, we have a couple of presentations we're gonna start with. First will be Jessie Simon of the Community Development Group. We've asked her to give us a quarterly update and a general report of their activities. So go ahead, Jessie, you're on.
Hi all. Sorry I can't be there in person, but thanks for having me tonight. I know you have a fairly extensive looking update in your packet that I hope you've all had time to review. You can see that we've been really busy with the Community Development Group in the last quarter. I want to start off by drawing your attention on that first page to the Main Street 4-point approach. This is a really key aspect of how we do our work for the West Branch Community Development Group. And I know that there's been some questions floating around. I've been trying to attend as many council meetings as possible, and there's been some questions about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. So gaining an understanding of this 4-point approach and the committees that we utilize, economic vitality, design, organization, and promotion, all of the work that we do falls into those categories. So all of the reports that you've received from me and all of our committees meet in those categories as well and kind of highlight what we've been doing in each of those 4 areas. Now, I know you've had this in front of you for a few days now. So I'm hoping to avoid going through it line by line or even bullet by bullet and elevating how we use our time together to ask for some feedback from you all tonight. I would love to hear from each of you on what you think is the highest priority work that we've been doing in the last quarter and what you would like to see us do more of as we move into the next quarter.
So what the CDG, what have you got up? You got Christmas Pass coming up. You got
That's a
Christmas
loaded
Pass.
question. We've got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, we've got Fall Fest.
Sure. So event-wise, we have fall sidewalk sales coming up October 8th and 9th. We have Christmas Pass coming up December 3rd and 4th. We also have Ladies Night Out in November. We've got a couple other retail promotions that we're working on. We've got the challenge grant that will be submitted this week. We are partnering with Parks and Rec and Public Works to work on the community visioning application. So we have lots coming up, but I want to get away a little bit from just thinking that we plan the events, because we do so much more than plan events in this community. But good question.
Jesse, I know, has been working on a challenge grant for a local building in town. You got us one, so maybe we'll get another. We'll see. It's
We'll see.
competitive.
Yep, the challenge grant
That's a lot of
application
work.
is for the Main Street Antiques building this year. They are hoping to do some basic updates as they look towards retirement. So this is really an effort to get that building ready for the next business that could potentially come in by conquering some of those foundational things that will make it more marketable and appealing long-term. So new roof, new windows, and an air conditioning unit, because the one it has is over 50 years old, and then some repairs to the housing upstairs. So that's what we're asking for. Again, that's a competitive grant. So we will push send on that this Thursday, just getting the final pieces together this week. I don't mean to put any of you on the spot. If you would rather that I just kind of go through each of those 4 categories and give you the high level updates, I'm happy to do that as well.
Why don't you go ahead and do that? I encourage anyone to jump in if you have a question. Just if you think of something.
Please do.
please ask.
Please do. I would love, like I said, I would love to elevate how we work together. I think this really needs to be a collaboration in order for us to do even more than we're doing right now. I feel like we're skimming the surface. We're doing a lot of great work, but it takes a ton of collaboration in order for us to do even more. And with our community growing the way it is, we're going to need some more feedback from City Council. So I would love to have the opportunity to meet with each of you individually, or to present more often, or to figure out how we can collaborate in a more mutual fashion, if that makes sense. But I'll run through this report, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to holler at me, and I'll do my best to listen via Zoom. So first, on economic vitality, I want to point out the main volunteers that co-chair each of these committees, because we are a volunteer-run organization. You see my face a lot, but it's really these volunteers that help to keep things running behind the scenes. So Marcy Willier and Cassie Plume are our economic vitality, excuse me. I would love for you guys to hop in and take a look at that latest market snapshot. This is incredible information that will be very helpful to a new city manager. And as you all look towards benchmarks and demographic trends and retail leakage and things like that in our community, we can be more of assistance of that, but it takes, again, more collaboration from council and city leaders. So I encourage you guys to take a look at that and use that in your strategic planning and as you look towards budgeting for the next year. We will be having a planner come from Main Street, Iowa to do a deep dive into this information to help our board members understand it better and to help us with our strategic planning on October 22nd. So if 1 or 2 of you are able to participate in that snapshot strategy session, that will be from 8:30 to 12:30 on that Friday. So we'd love to have you. We'll be in town hall, but let me know and we'll plan for you to be there. Otherwise, you're aware of the new businesses that have come to town. Check out the note there about what is coming soon. We have been working very closely with quite a few business owners that are opening in West Branch soon or looking for places to open in West Branch soon. Also doing a lot of work in recruiting things that we know based on that market research, what would thrive in West Branch. So trying to fill those gaps that we know people are going out of town instead of shopping local. The other big thing on here that I think is really fantastic, and we've had a lot of usage so far, is the virtual business lab that we have available. So this is one-on-one coaching. It's free professional business coaching that any of our local business owners on Main Street or not can utilize. So that has been well received, and we've got positive feedback on that so far. Does anybody have questions about the economic vitality work?
I'd like to point out that downtown dollars are given out at events and as part of the skating rink. Downtown dollars are given out, which encourages shopping, and that comes directly out of your guys' budget. You reimburse the businesses
We do. Yep.
directly. So
Yep. So that's dollar for dollar reimbursement back to the businesses, but it keeps the money local instead of people shopping anywhere else. All right, I'll jump on down to design. This committee is chaired by Nick Shimon. Shout out to Nick. I see you're on here too. We have spent a lot of time focusing on placemaking this year, and that is creating an environment that's welcoming and appealing generally. So mostly those efforts have focused on Main Street. Two big projects that we implemented this year, and really this was all Nick, was he secured grant funding for buying the new and improved hanging planters. Those are self-watering hanging planters, so that reduces our need to water them by 80%. And then we've been able to utilize volunteers all summer to water those every other day. As you've probably noticed, they look fantastic, a big improvement over what we've had in past years. So those are wonderful, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback there too. We also just installed new street pole banners that were designed, printed, and installed just before Hoover Days. And that was also completely funded by a partnership with another organization. So lots of collaboration going on that's visible on Main Street. The Opera Block project, which was the challenge grant recipient last year, is well underway. You can finally start to see the external work being done, although they have been working on that for almost a full year now, doing the roof and still working on the full building, is getting a new electrical, everything that they need for electrical. So it's fun to see the things on the front happening, and that will be completely done. I think they still have another year. They have one more year, but they're hoping to get it done in the next few months. So exciting things going there. And then our next challenge grant application will be submitted this week. We did also have Main Street Iowa come to town to do design consultations on Heritage Square and 2 other properties in August. So that's another free service that we have available through Main Street Iowa. That really can help property owners to get a better idea for how to approach historical renovation and how to update their buildings to make sure that our Main Street looks the best that it can. Any questions about our design work?
that design consultation met with a designer. She's going to give us a proposal of what we might be able to do at Heritage Square over here, rebuild it, revamp it. Can't wait to see that.
I'm excited to see that too. I haven't seen it come through yet. They say it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks, so we should be seeing it in the next few weeks. I'll be happy to share that with all of you as well. That's definitely something that our design committee hopes to focus on in the next few years, on the tail of knowing that the museum and library has that big renovation coming up in the next 5 years. We want to make sure that the connection between the museum and the national park naturally leads to Main Street to eat and shop and explore, and make sure that we are engaging that tourist traffic in a way that helps our businesses survive and converts into dollars that are spent here. And a big part of that is making sure that Heritage Square is that gateway. All right, I'm gonna
Has anything ever been said? I know, what was his name? The guy was before you. Anyhow, talked about putting a new welcome sign. West Branch, talked about the park and the city and Main Street, getting all of us getting together and.
Okay.
You know,
No, nobody has mentioned that to me. Is that something that you all think is a priority?
I really do not like the
Okay.
plywood sign. I would really like to get something nice.
Yeah.
They drive through all these other small communities and they have beautiful brick. We've got a really nice one out at the high school. So,
which needs-
Agreed.
needs
And
a
then
light
coming in
over
from
it.
the interstate, there's the nice one from the library and museum.
Can't see it at night.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. I'll make a note of that. Any other
yeah,
design?
I'd like to get something to welcome people off of.
Chad gets all done with his work, maybe
When one?
we might be on his property, the Parkside Service building. I mean, BP station.
I know, yeah, right, they're renovating and this and that. and-
You probably have money for it. There's money in a sign budget somewhere that's sitting there forever and ever. Acciona gave it.
Huh? Interesting. There may be money, for it, somewhat.
That makes a difference. All right, great comments. I'm gonna roll through our organization committee really quick. This is chaired by Stephen Grace. I want to draw your attention here to, we onboarded 5 new board members last month. This was something that was recommended very recently during our Main Street America visit. We have honestly gained so much momentum that there's just not enough time in the day for me as one part-time person to do the work that we need to do. So that brought our board of directors up to 13 active members. We have a really strong board right now. And as you can likely recall, there was times when we didn't have a very strong board or active committee. So that has been our major focus of 2021, is onboarding new volunteers, getting people re-engaged, making sure that all of our committees are meeting regularly, are actively working on projects, and are being held accountable. So we are gaining lots of momentum, and I'm really happy to report that. We've had a couple small fundraisers during Hoover Days. We sold t-shirts and collected some free will donations. We raised a little bit over $1,000 during that time. And we also still have Eat, Shop, Explore local t-shirts if you would like to support and, you know, kind of market West Branch when you're out and about. Those are available in the office. And definitely want to note that we have our required program agreement will be coming up in the next few months. You probably recall this is a biannual program agreement process to review and renew the contractual agreement between Main Street Iowa, CDG, and the city. So that will be coming up. Let's see, I'll have my board review it in the next couple months. I'll review it likely with Roger and the new city manager when that person comes on board. And I'll be back to present it to city council for approval through resolution of support in November or December. And then we will submit all of that. So there'll be some time to really review what we do and what's expected of each of our organizations coming in the next few months. Any questions about organization? That's kind of the dry stuff. Promotion committee is my personal favorite. This is chaired by Stacy Waters. They have a fantastic and really dedicated group of volunteers on our promotion committee. You've likely noticed that we have consistently promoted and increased our branding efforts of just being effective and consistent with how and what we are saying about our community and about the Main Street District. That is kind of marketing 101, which has or will absolutely continue to drive traffic into our community. We did launch a new and improved website. I encourage you to check out mainstreetwestbranch.org. It's much better than it used to be. And this includes interactive directories of where to eat, where to shop, and where to explore in West Branch. So those are really good, tangible things that people can check out when they come to visit the museum or when they're looking for something out and about. And we've seen good traffic increase to the website since that launched too. That also went live right before Hoover Days. I've already told you about Kickoff to Summer. You guys know about Hoover's Hometown Days, so we're going to skip over that. You've seen the event permit for fall sidewalk sales. We are not planning on doing anything huge for a fall fest this year with the Delta variant in mind. And we had really fantastic feedback with sidewalk sales the last year that we did them. This drives a lot more traffic into our stores and into our restaurants than some of the other activities that we have done in the past. So we are keeping it simple and going to dedicate our dollars and our time and energy to advertising fall sidewalk sales and making that an engaging opportunity for people to come and eat and shop locally. So that will be October 8th and 9th, assuming that that permit is approved. Christmas past, Planning is underway. We plan to do that as traditional as possible this year, keeping COVID precautions in mind, but generally knowing that we can just make recommendations and plan as usual. We do have a contract from Clip Clop Carriages that I have noted in my report here. I would like to request that the city considers contributing $3,000 to this activity. This is the same as what you've done in past years. And National Park Service and CDG are prepared to cover the remaining balance of that activity. Is that something that I need to request more formally than this, Roger, or how does that work?
Yes, we need a resolution.
We would need a resolution, yes. So that's coming up. We need to get that rolling out. So I don't think we'll have a city administrator in place by the time we need to get that in front of us. Maybe the 1st of October-ish. I'll work on getting a resolution to seriously talk about it and discuss it, and hopefully we can do it.
Do we have to do a resolution if we put it in our budget and earmark it that we're gonna,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Which we
know,
have.
that's kind of, I mean, at the end of the day, it's there. I think we put a certain amount of money in there for that type of thing. It's kind of ridiculous that we gotta have this discussion every year about something we all know we're gonna do anyway. We didn't talk about trimming the trees before that got done. They just brought us a bill and said, are we gonna pay it or not? I just thought it sounded good.
Let me get with Heidi and see if it's in our budget somewhere. It seems like we have talked about it already.
Yeah, Colton, I like where your head's at. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, let me know if there's anything else that I need to do on that. We are prepared to sign the contract, but would absolutely encourage the financial support to help lessen that. We are exploring options this year with COVID in mind and generally to improve the event experience. We are toying with the idea of offering an option to reserve times to ride one of the carriages. So one of the carriages would be free, come and stand in line, do whatever you want, like wait in line for as long as you need to. And one of the carriages would be, you pay $10 to reserve your time. You come, you don't wait in line. You have your own group of people there. When you're done, you get $10 in downtown dollars back, just like we did for the ice rink. That was really smooth. We had good response from people on that, especially that it actually converted the effort that we are putting into these events into people shopping and spending money locally. When I put on my economic development hat, we are missing the mark on spending time as being party planners without making sure that there's a direct tie to supporting our businesses in a way. Everybody comes to town for a free event, but those aren't necessarily the people that we want to come to town and be, spending so much time in our stores and restaurants if they're not prepared to be making purchases and supporting those businesses that so generously open up their doors and welcome everybody in for festive activities like that. So I would love your feedback on an idea like that. It's new. We know that sometimes new things take some time to gain momentum. So having your support would be important. All right, no concerns. I guess that's a good thing. The last couple things for promotion, we have our annual Sweets for Success live auction on the calendar. I encourage you all to save the date, Friday, April 22nd. We would love to offer City Council a table at the next event and make sure that you all have an opportunity to see what that's all about and how fantastic it is to see the community come together and support our mission in that way. Last but not least, we had a really fun, creative idea pop up from this committee of a welcome wagon. We are partnering with Liberty Communications and we plan to start delivering welcome baskets or bags to provide our new residents with a really kind of small town charming welcome where they have an opportunity to meet somebody new, to get more than a brochure in the mail or kind of some of those things that normally happen, but to offer them some exclusive discounts or exclusive coupons to come to drive them to our stores locally. A lot of people moving into the west side might not even know what's available when you come down this direction if they're working in Iowa City and living out there. Some things that we're thinking about as our community continues to grow that way. How do we engage people? How do we get them into our stores? How do we make sure that Main Street continues to be the heart of the community? in a really good way, instead of the old side of town that people don't visit as often. So we would love to include, our guide to Eat, Shop, and Explore, some special promotions to Main Street businesses, some information about how to get involved with volunteer groups, the city services brochure, and some other kind of fun and welcoming items in there. We would love the city's partnership in this effort in helping to identify new residents, especially those that are actually new to the community, not just moving across town. And we figured that utility services would be a good ping for that. So just want to put a bug in your ear there. That is a project that we're working on and that we will be hoping to have some support from the new city manager too. Last but not least, you see that we had a partnership visit and evaluation from Main Street America earlier this summer. That happened on June 8th. We welcomed Kathy LaPlante from the Main Street America organization. She came really to do an overview and strategic planning and kind of make some recommendations and make sure that we're meeting all of our requirements to stay accredited. We had a really good review from her. I linked that report at the end of my quarterly update here. I encourage you all to read that. There's some really valuable information about what we're doing well, where we have areas of opportunity, and how we could collaborate better together. Any questions about all that? I know it's a lot.
Pretty neat. Got a lot going
I
on.
would encourage people to, this latest market snapshot at the top of our pages would be very interesting to look at.
It is, and if you can
Says a
come on
lot.
October 22nd, you are welcome to. I know we can't have too many of you or it becomes a public meeting sort of issue. But if you can identify a couple people to come and participate, I think that would be fantastic.
I'll be there.
Okay, maybe the new city administrator, will they be there by October 22nd? Fingers crossed. You probably can't say. Okay, I will just wrap up. Yeah, I'll wrap up just by saying that as our community grows and continues to evolve, it's more important than ever that the city leads the way by investing your time, your energy, your interest, and your funding to approach economic development with both preservation and expansion in mind. So our Main Street can remain a celebrated focus that sets us apart from other towns and serves our residents and draws in tourists to eat and shop and explore. You hear that slogan that we're consistently using. I would encourage each of you to read this report in detail if you didn't have a chance prior to tonight, to join us on October 22nd, if possible, to look at your schedule and find a time that we can sit down. I would love to talk one-on-one with each of you in the coming months. I'll plant a seed right now, shameless plug, that our organization is just skimming the surface on the impact that we can make in West Branch. The more support that we have from the city would be greatly appreciated as you look towards 2022 and onboard a new city manager. Keep CDG in mind. We are an asset that can be incredibly valuable to the community if we can collaborate effectively. Thank you guys for having me tonight. I know I'm long-winded, but I appreciate having the opportunity to update you all, and thank you for your leadership and support.
Thank you. You do a great job. Thank you.
Thanks for your hard work, Justin.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great group. We're going to move on to Greg Hummerhouse and the West Branch Lions Club. We'll talk about the Hoover Hunger Program.
My name is Greg Hummerhouse. I'm currently Vice President of the West Branch Lions. This is Tony Warren, President of the West Branch Lions. 2 hours ago, I was playing pickleball at Covey Park. So thank you to those of you who approved that, got that going. That's a lot of fun. But I'm here for the Hoover Hunger Project. It's an event the Lions and Hoover Presidential Foundation are co-sponsoring Saturday, October 23rd. We'll have 2 shifts of volunteers from 10 to noon and noon to 2 at Hoover Elementary. It's a meal packaging event. We did something similar to this in 2014. For those that remember,
It was fun.
What was the date again?
Saturday, October 23rd. In 2014, we packaged 84,000 meals. Half of them were donated to local food banks, half were sent overseas. This year, our goal is 100,000 meals. We're going to raise $29,000. I'm not here to ask you guys for money, so don't worry about that. Letters will be going out next week, maybe this week, to businesses, churches, other Lions clubs, anyone we can think of, begging for money and volunteers. If you go to our website, it's new this summer, westbranchlions.org. There should be information on there, or there will be very soon, about the project, how you can donate online, and how you can sign up online. We're hoping to have 200 volunteers. The organization we use is called Meals of Hope. It's a different one than we used last time. The coordinator, a guy named Leon, has changed companies. The impetus behind all this year's event was Leslie Hoover Lobel, if I'm saying her name right. She loved the event in 2014. She's a great granddaughter of President Hoover. We honored him at the remembrance of his 75th state funeral event in 2014. So this year there's not really an event to join with that. I think it's the Uncommon Student Weekend. So there might be some Hoovers in town. Leslie said she couldn't make that date, which was disappointing. But we're going to see a lot of fundraising efforts, media releases, emails, just begging for money and time. It's a great event. We can use volunteers anywhere from elementary to 90-year-old guys. There's a job for everyone. I don't know how deep you want me to go into the meal packaging event, but I can answer questions. Great day in West Branch. Jerry Fliegel's employee Brad put together a real neat 6-minute, 45-second video of the event last time. And there's a YouTube link that I could send. That'll be also on the website if you want to watch a 6-minute video. It's a real feel good piece, nice music to it. But again, our goal is 100,000 meals. We raised 29,000. Lions have started the commitment process with a $5,000 chunk from our budget. So
What's your website again? West Branch Lions?
westbranchlions.org.
Oh.
There are other West Branches we found out, but we got westbranchlions.org. Yeah.
So that would be a good place to go to sign up and to donate.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
A little tricky part, if Lions clubs are not 501c3, but the Hoover President's Foundation is. So if you're doing it for tax purposes, the check needs to be made out to the Hoover President's Foundation. That's why we're partnering with them and Jerry. If you're not worried about the tax donation, then check to Lions is fine. And all that should be highlighted in our letter and on the website, so no one is confused, especially for businesses that use it as a good tax.
All right. Nice. Sounds great. Hope
Thanks.
make it work. Pull it off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Okay, we're gonna move into some resolutions, starting with number 2032. To approve a consultant agreement with Lisa Rickardson to provide financial consulting services. She's already been working. This wasn't updated last year, correct? That's why we're doing it again now. So give me a motion somewhere. Second. Tom will second. It's $50 an hour. She's pretty valuable. Heidi's really relying on her right now, and hopefully it'll be less and less as time goes on.
How long is she expected to be here?
She shows up for half a day here and there, and I don't know, it's the $10,000 cap, which you can't imagine going that high. Can't imagine going that high. Heidi's picking up pretty quick. did she advise Don Brandt when she was here too?
No, she helped us when after Dawn left and while we hired in between while we hired Gordon, and then she also assisted Gordon from the beginning.
Anyway, she's really good, very knowledgeable. So.
So it's kind of bring Heidi up to speed on
City function.
city financial.
Right, yeah, because that when Gordon left, it was kind of a critical time for making sure we could get the last fiscal year closed and get the new one ready to go. So she helped her get some adjustments taken care of, making sure everything balanced for the previous year. And Heidi was able to actually get the fiscal year closed last week.
Friday?
I think it was last week. Yeah, so she had.
It was on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got it closed and we're in the new budget year, so now we can move forward.
So that was a big deal. And then Lisa helped a lot and Heidi was feeling really good that it got done. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal to get that done.
So we're over the biggest hurdle now.
No, I get it.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? All right, let's vote please then on Lisa Rickardson's contract.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
All right, so next up is a much shorter assignment, Resolution 2033, approving hiring Gordon as a temporary employee from August 9th to the 12th. 4 days he was here for financial consulting services, same sort of thing. Just to introduce Heidi or finish up Gordon's tenure with his books and what Heidi's process and Gordon's old process and discovering things, making it work out. So I need a motion, please.
Moved.
I'm kind of doing this backwards.
I was just gonna
Yeah,
say,
I know.
my question is why was this even on here? You already
Because-
did it.
Tell you why. We couldn't hire, so he had to quit for a month, 30 days, then he could come back. He couldn't come back as a regular employee. Because he'd been out for 30 days. His tenure, his work was over. His employment was over. He couldn't come back as a regular employee. He couldn't come back as a contract employee because he didn't want it. He didn't want to be a contract employee because he didn't want to get a 1099. This is the only other option to be a temporary employee.
All right, I get
And
that.
we went around and around, he and I and Leslie, and finally got resolved a week or so ago, and minus a city administrator, that's just how it got. $1,200? How much?
I believe he had like
30,
32,
28 hours, 32 hours?
32 hours. I was gone 3 of those days.
Yeah.
I was on
It was 32 hours.
Just need to get it getting paid, and
So if we don't approve this, and he doesn't get paid.
you can take the phone call.
Right. it's
He
just
didn't
odd
want
that
to be a
we-
contract employee, and I said,
Doing this.
okay, Gordon, you
We're
don't,
not even done.
we'll make it work, and it's the same amount of pay no matter what. Same amount of pay. And he doesn't get IPERS. It saves us some money. We don't have to contribute to IPERS.
That's fine.
Temporary employee.
I have no problem. I mean, he did the work.
He needed to be
It
there.
was just a matter of it's after the fact. So
I know.
It's borderline stupid. I mean, why come ask us to do something to approve something that you already did?
I'll take the blame for that. I just couldn't get this agreement with him soon enough, and I went around and around with him, and then he was upset that we were gonna do it this way.
This way? How do you want it done?
he just wanted cash
Regular.
under the
He
table.
wanted
No, he
IPERS.
wanted to be a regular employee with IPERS withheld,
Oh,
and it just can't happen that way.
You can't.
Can't happen. So Leslie called IPERS people, I called IPERS people. And this is the way it's got to happen.
Good.
Any other discussion? All right, let's vote.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Miller,
No,
Sorry,
Stulman,
if I heard my name.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean.
yes.
All right, we'll get Jordan paid and.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Will we need to bring Gordon back?
No. No.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Heidi says no to.
I have
She's the
faith
one that
in you,
counts.
Heidi.
I
I
have
just
faith
wanted
in
to
Lisa,
know.
and Lisa, honestly, Lisa has been a huge help. I do appreciate you guys supporting that resolution. And definitely, you know, as time goes by, I'll need less and less help. But it has been essential. As you guys know, I was left without closing the fiscal year, which is imperative. And so Lisa has been a huge help in making that happen. And now it's just little things in here, but yeah, no, Lisa is going to be my main consultant.
That's fine.
All right, thanks, Heidi. Okay, we're gonna move on. Resolution 2034, approving the cleaning services with Jamie Seelig. Motion, please.
So moved.
This is for the, need a second. Nick. City offices and town hall. That's it.
All right, I noticed we already cut her check. So again, why are we even talking about this? This decision's already been made. She's been hired, she's doing the work, and now you want a resolution to approve it. We don't even have a choice.
I will answer to that. At the last person we had, there was an agreement, but you guys didn't see it to make it more transparent because she is my daughter. I thought you guys should look at it and agree to it. You can either approve it or not approve it. But the last person we hired, there was an agreement, but you didn't see it.
Okay, so on the last person, did they have, when you're a contracted subcontractor type of deal like that, in the contract for Miss Rickardson, we specified that we would pay for her liability insurance. Now, in Jamie's contract, doesn't say whether she provides it or we provide it.
It does not say that. I said, this is the contract that Gordon had written up for the last person. So I just found this one and mirrored it. I didn't change that. I did notice when I pulled Lisa's that it did talk about insurance, and we can address that. I would need to also go back and look to see when we hired Galaxy Cleaning, for example.
Yeah.
Because we treated them a little bit different because in that contract, they supplied their own cleaning materials, their own stuff. And then we got away from that because we couldn't find anybody to clean. And then we went with another service and now we supply all the cleaning supplies. They just come in, use our supplies and leave and just go to the next building.
So just while we're on this subject, I was kind of thinking about this. We have parks with bathrooms in them. We've got a concession stand. We've got trash that needs emptied at parks and stuff like that. Would it be out of the question? Obviously, we can't do anything right now, but maybe when budget time comes, that maybe we decide, maybe we hire a janitor, a full-time janitor that goes around and takes care of these things. I mean, right now we have, who cleans the bathrooms at the parks? So we pay $23 an hour.
All summer.
Listen, people do it
Part-time agencies who did it. It's just, we don't have any part-time now, so yeah, we're picking up.
So we have these high-dollar people going around cleaning toilets and emptying trash bags. And it's probably not being done in a schedule that's truthfully even acceptable. So something to think about.
Yeah, good point. I mean, someone else could do it besides your guys. That'd be great. That's not a bad idea. They would love it.
And then we would have a full-time cleaning person for the offices, for the town hall, it would.
So when you take care of the parks, do you budget that back to the parks or is that part of your service?
Yeah, we started doing that a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, where we started charging back. So when we do our time sheets, we put in the park for so many hours, and then that gets charged to parks hours.
Yeah, I totally agree. We need to change that because we should not have $23 an hour employees cleaning toilets, picking up trash. And that takes away from you guys' time to do stuff that needs to be
That's
done.
part of the reason why sometimes it doesn't get done as quick as it should, because we have other stuff that.
And we've hired an extra employee to do some of the in-house stuff. Just because we didn't want to farm some of the stuff out, and we have to take time away from that, you guys to clean that stuff, that's just ridiculous.
I mean,
That's
it-
how we've been doing it, at least since I've been.
yeah, but we're getting big enough now. I mean, there's parks and bathrooms and you know, that kind of stuff almost needs to be gone through every day. I mean, you know, somebody ought to check that stuff every day, a bathroom. 'Cause
No, so Iowa City has their own employees do that, is that right? They're not subcontractors.
No, I think they have.
Some of them are part-time, some are help too.
I mean, and then that person, when the parks get all closed up and winterized, I mean, there's still snow on sidewalks need pushed. I mean, it could just kind of be a floater person that's doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to, they belong to the city. They're
Well, they
not a-
can work for themselves.
Yeah.
and work for the city. Contract. Say.
Well, I say we make them an employee.
You can start them, you can
Full-time
start them at part-time and move them to full-time if they wanted it.
You don't need them full-time through the winter. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not,
Right.
you're not gonna do anything in the parks. They're all closed down and stuff, so. Their time in the parks.
Okay, that's a later discussion.
Don't even get me on that.
But
Right
it has been
now-
hard to find cleaning people. It's been hard. So
Yeah.
that was the reason for this, was just to make it more transparent, because the last one wasn't transparent.
Okay, any other discussion on making Jamie's hiring official?
So is she contracted?
Yes.
So will she have her own insurance, all that?
Yeah, there's the contract. Okay, let's go ahead and vote then, Leslie.
All right, Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
All right, resolution 2035, appointing Leslie Brick as city clerk. This is a formality.
That you were city.
Deputy city clerk. This is.
Now sheriff deputy.
Sheriff.
The new sheriff in town.
You've told me this, explain it to me again one more time. I'm sorry, Leslie.
All right, all cities in Iowa are required to have a city clerk appointed for all cities. And it's because they have to publish the minutes, they have to write the minutes, they have to be the person who handles the elections and all those kinds of tasks. In our city code, it basically says publication of minutes, recording of all the measures, which is what I do through this, making sure that all the minutes get published. I make sure that all the measures get certified, meaning they get recorded as they need to be recorded. I have to attend all meetings. I issue license and permits. I notify appointees when the council makes an appointment to certain boards and commissions, and again, the election. So I pretty much do all of these things. I always have. With our last city administrator, that person wasn't a clerk, so I assumed all these responsibilities. So therefore, since I've assumed all those responsibilities, it kind of makes sense. Our next city administrator, based on some of the information, they're not clerks. So this stuff would still be done by me anyway. So it's pretty much just a
should have
formality.
been done a long time ago.
All right, any other discussion? Go ahead, Leslie.
I don't have a motion.
Jody?
Second,
Okay.
Nick.
Oh, Nick second, Nick
No,
first
Nick was
today?
first.
All right.
First,
Okay. Councilperson Goodweiler. Stulman,
yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Okay, item E, resolution 2036. Approving a purchases agreement with Dustin Anderson for the West Branch wastewater treatment facility project.
So moved.
Thank you. Need a second, please.
Second.
Colton, I guess. So Dustin and I called and came to an agreement on $20,000 an acre. It's actually a pretty good deal. It really is.
Yeah, I looked it up. Yeah. Anyhow, go on.
Okay. Harts Farm Management recommended 32,000, up to
I don't care,
32,000 an acre.
I looked up Cedar County.
Which may have killed the whole project. But anyway, he requested an easement across the property because he's got a field to the north that he'll have to get to. If the creek ever, washes out and changes configuration, he won't be able to get to that property except across this property. I talked to Kevin Olson. I talked to Schekinger about it. They said, fine, no problem. We'll just put a lock on the gate and he can have the key. So at his farm field. Anyway. Any other discussion? Okay. Go ahead.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Stulman,
No,
Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes. Okay, I should have said earlier, the funds for this will be, it's part of the project. It's part of the $7 million project. It's written in, it's rolled into the budget.
So what did we have budgeted for land acquisition?
It was 200,000. My understanding was 200,000.
We had budgeted 80,000. Part of this is they're offsetting dirt removal costs in order to pay for it. It's cheaper to buy.
Oh, it's
land.
more than that for land acquisition.
We had 80,000 for land acquisition to move the brush pile. And then they're offsetting the costs of moving large amounts of dirt off-site by moving them onto this property.
But we still don't have a brush pile.
Well, the brush, not one that we can burn on. You're right. The brush pile will have to get moved onto this property. Basically what it's gonna come down to, which will give us a bigger area to put stuff. It's just you're still gonna pay the chip.
I think we could burn it since it's farther away.
I mean, you can burn it, it's just taking the chance on getting smoke and PNG and then
Blanks.
having to deal with that. Or.
can't burn within the city limits.
Yeah, we'd be violating our own rules.
Yep.
Our own ordinance.
We've done it
We give-
before for
we
other
give special
people.
permits to burn.
So
Like that.
here's the thought that you have to think about.
We
on
did
this
it for
brush
you,
pile.
didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But it has to be burned out within a few days.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, wind blows in different directions every day, so you don't know where the wind's gonna blow.
4-day.
And to
fire.
make a brush pile that you can actually burn, you have to burn it like weekly. Maybe even more often than that. If you have a storm come through and there's a whole bunch of brush come in, then you got a big pile that you gotta burn that's gonna last a week. So, and if you don't stir it and get the ashes burning that's inside the brush pile,
Mhm.
when it rains, now you got a huge pile of ashes that really got stuff in that should have burned. It's not ideal, would be to get it out in the country, but then again, we're also looking at, you gotta put it in some spot that doesn't affect all the residents around it.
Well, that's the same thing though. That one down there at the county access, when they burn that burns for months.
That play that Cedar Bluff.
Yeah. It's like continuously just burns.
Take our stuff there.
We could buy a truck, it's like the county transfer.
We could
just
tell
haul it
people,
over
there it is, north of town,
Actually,
9
they don't-
miles.
I don't know what the rules are to dump there, but they don't just let anybody
I've
dump.
I've sent people there before.
Oh, I've dumped there before, but
Yeah.
there's signs that say you ain't supposed to. I'm shocked.
Okay, so back to this topic. This is 10 acres we need. It should facilitate the project, make things easier. That's why we need it. Any other comments? Go ahead, Leslie.
We already did.
That's right, we did. What am I talking about? All right, we're gonna move on to Resolution 2037, establishing a capital projects fund. This is for the ARPA funds. I think this was what that's for. Need a motion, please. There it
I'm
is.
trying to find it on the.
Page 52, I'm seeing. Yeah, this is for the ARPA funds. So we've already received one payment, the first payment, 160,000, I think.
Got a
You got a
motion, we need
motion?
second.
Give me a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Tom. This is just establishing fund number 302. This is all this is. So Heidi has a place to put these funds. And then when they are spent out of this funds. It just makes it clean.
Yeah, we have to have a unique account number for these funds so that we can track everything.
Even though we don't have a plan for them yet, but we don't have to right now. We're not talking about that yet.
That's what I'm confused about. I don't understand what it is.
American Recovery.
Right, I don't understand what it is.
Trump gave us money.
Huh?
Trump gave us money.
Oh, he didn't.
Trump's not around
It
anymore.
wasn't
Yeah.
federals.
It was the other government, the
State.
other president.
Biden did it. Trump did. No, he didn't.
Oh, well, we're not going to argue about that.
It's free money we're getting from the government.
We're getting 300.
It's not free.
$360,000 total-ish. And
Money comes from the government.
we've already received 180, I think.
$87,000.
So we have to put it in a certain fund and then it has to go to certain renewal things or replacement things.
The cleanest that Maggie told us is sewer, water, and broadband.
Oh, it's what Maggie was talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think it can be
Okay.
used for economic development also, but not worried about that right now. So,
How much we getting? 300 and what?
The
80.
first payment's about $187,000. The next one's going to be next year. It's going to be about $185,000.
So I thought at one point some of this could be used for economic development, which would be a great tie-in with the
I think it'd
CDG.
be great to fix the east side water and streets.
Mhm.
So that's
what-
why I put it under capital project is because, as Maggie stated, it would be best for us to invest it into the wastewater project
Okay, that too.
or other projects, but I did it as a capital projects account.
Okay. Now I understand what it is. Okay,
It's a
Thank you.
placeholder right now. Okay, let's vote, Leslie.
Hey, Roger, can I hop on really quick? I'm looking at the ARPA website and I'll just clarify for you. Eligible uses for these funds include revenue replacement for provisions of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to COVID-19 public health emergency, or COVID-19 expenditures or negative economic impacts of COVID-19, including assistance for small businesses, households, and hard-hit industries and economic recovery, or premium pay for essential workers, or investment in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure.
So that's
directly
the
off
economic
the budget.
development element that I've been speaking of.
Yes, that
Just
is
as
what
clean.
sparked the ARPA funding, was economic recovery from COVID-19.
It's just as clean for that as it is for sewer and water.
well, personally, I think that some of it should be repaid back to the fire and medical for being that's coming from COVID. Fire and medical did a hell of a job during this COVID thing. So I really think that fire and medical deserve some of this. And it's not because I'm part of it. This is coming from my heart and thanking them for everything they did. And I really truly believe that the citizens of West Branch would stand behind this.
Let's get a number. All we need is a number. Don't worry about it right now.
Right.
See, I would like to see CDG receive some of this because they provide economic vitality
Yes,
and
yes. And that's,
it's
I would
very-
like to
very useful
repay
for us.
everybody that helped us get through this. If this is what it is truly for, then not just our wastewater treatment plant.
Okay. We'll talk about it at another time. So we'll have that probably budget time. We'll figure it out at December or January. Let's vote, Leslie.
Councilperson Goodweiler? Dean?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes,
Miller?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
All right, speed limits. Second reading of ordinance 782, amending chapter 63 of the West Branch Code regarding speed limits on Main Street. Let me get a motion and then we'll talk about it.
Second.
All right, so you have in your pile here. What am I getting? How do I explain this? In order to change, it looks like we have to change the speed limit in Johnson County. We can't just go from 55 to 25. At the city, you just can't go from 55 to 25. You got to ramp it down, which means the speed limit has to be changed in Johnson County itself. And this is Scheckinger's proposal.
that's stepping it down pretty fast, but if that's
That's the minimum required
legal, then
distance.
that's fine.
In order to change the speed limit in Johnson County, it has to have 3 ordinance readings, just like we're doing. It's got to go before a committee in Johnson County. I don't know what committee. And
The board of supervisors.
then the Board of Supervisors does 3 readings, just like we're doing.
So it
6,
goes through two.
it's going to be
committees?
6 weeks. They could probably do 2.
Goes through 2 committees? Or? board
A
of
committee,
supervisors?
that's one of the engineers explained it in an email to me that way. It has to go, there must be a Roads and Streets Committee or something like that. Or the Johnson County engineer, probably the engineer.
I was just going, I've been driving Mahaffey Bridge Road a lot. And right around South Slope, it goes 55, from 55 to 45 is a pretty good chunk of jog before it goes from 55 to 45. But as soon as it goes from 45, it's literally, it's 100 yards, you can see the 35 sign, and 100 yards from that.
Well,
you
that's
see
about
the
what this
25
is.
sign, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that goes, there's a sign somewhere in there that says end of county maintenance. So, I mean, it's transferring from county. to-
Well, this is what our engineer is telling us, how this has to be done. There is I don't know what the term is, but we do have a turn lane in certain geography of the road that these distances are kind of critical. You can't shorten change on distances because that wouldn't be right. So what I'm proposing is, I guess, is we can read this and approve it one more time.
You would read it
But
one more time and approve it pending Johnson
then we need
County's
Johnson
action.
County to do their thing. And I also see that there's 50 yards here of 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. Well, according to what we're just reading, there's no 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. So maybe I can't even can't even read this tonight because
Okay, so,
it says the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit goes to the city limit.
In other words,
So
all
we
that
need to
just
modify this,
All that
anyway.
just needs to be moved farther to the west.
all this,
All of it.
maybe, you're right, yeah. That wouldn't be so bad, would it? Do the
Well, it's all
25.
gonna change eventually anyway,
So
when they
we
straighten
could-
that road out.
Well, now, wait a minute. What we're doing is changing from here to here, right? This is all them.
Well, this says in our reading right here, to the city limit. That's where it says,
which is Cedar Johnson Road.
which is
Okay, so there's this much.
that little section of
That's the city
35.
limit, right?
We got to deal with. So what Jerry said is right, though. Let's just move it all that way. Ask Johnson County to do that. Okay, so I feel like just, God, I hate to table it, but table it until Johnson County gets their work done.
Okay, I have
Which
another
could be a
one.
whole year because this road isn't even done. They're not gonna put all these signs in and do all that. Put these signs in. And then take them out again.
So is there a state law saying that it's got to be a gradual decrease?
Yeah, it's SUDES, DOT Traffic Safety Manual.
Had to ask, if we approve ours and change it, doesn't mean they have to then legally. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so,
Like, we've waited for them for how many years? Just, we'll change ours to 25 and then legally, they have to change it per those rules.
Yeah, so if that's
So
the
we'll just
case,
approve it and change it, and then we'll tell them, hey, we
Well,
changed
We'll
it.
tell them, yeah, this is
Okay,
what we're
well, then
doing,
legally
so
they have
you
to do
need
it.
to
There's
help,
no
you need to do
conversation.
your thing.
We
We're
just
doing,
change it, and there's no conversation because they legally have to follow the rules.
Plus, we don't even know if we're going to have that intersection done next year.
it'll be a year.
I understand. I like to play hardball better than the rest of you, but I think you're hardballing the wrong guy. I mean, these people are gonna help us maybe do Johnson Cedar Road. They're helping to bring stuff up to our town. I mean, let's not jack with them. Let's jack with the farmer we need some land from or something, but not this.
I think they'll work with us, I really do.
Right, so
The
let's just
engineers
work with
will. they'll-
so in
they'll
the
work with us.
meantime, how can we change it to during school? Make it a school zone.
That's up for the next discussion as soon as we finish this discussion. The 20-mile-per-hour school zone during school with flashing lights.
Not during school, before school and after school.
Okay, let's stick to this topic first of all.
so I wanted to understand that legally Johnson County is gonna have to change, they're gonna have to provide the reduction in speed.
I don't know that for certain. but
Legally-
I would think so.
No, legally, they could say, no, we're not gonna do it. You can't go to 25. I mean,
You can
Well,
go-
we can't-
No way.
well, we can't control what they're doing, so you don't think they can control what we're doing?
Well, right now, there's no signage out there telling you there's a reduction in speed at all coming into town. You pop over that corner, that hill, and you could be
Right.
doing 55 mile an hour,
That's on.
and all of a sudden there's a 35.
That sign got
There
wiped
is,
out.
that's
by-
what it is.
I know that's what it is.
That sign got wiped out by a snowplow or something. It never got replaced.
Yeah, it used to be there.
I know it.
I mean, well, you can't just pass it and force them to do something because they could say no.
So I feel
Legally
like,
can't say no.
I feel like passing this tonight one more time, and then before we even bring it up again, let me and Dave do our work with the county and see where that goes. You know, maybe they'll do it in 6 weeks, and in 8 weeks, we'll have this, and we'll be done. Maybe they'll do what we want.
Could we just do all 3 readings and then on the last reading, it just doesn't go in effect until we can abide by the law? I mean, then that puts at least more pressure on them that,
Here's another scenario. Those signs can't cost that much. All we have to do is get permission from them to put them in?
That's another scenario. However, to actually change the speed requires an ordinance reading by them, by Johnson
By
County.
then,
We could put the speed reduction sign. That's the only sign we could put there,
that'd be better than nothing.
and ask for a permit. We'd have to get a permit to do that, and it would be our sign, and we would go out there and put that sign in there. That was the other scenario of how this could get done.
I'm sure if we went out there and put it in ourselves, they'd never know.
Probably find the little road
Until
that
the
was there.
snowplow came.
Well, seeing as there was one that's been there for years and now it's gone, it needs to be replaced by them.
We're
You
not
can
gonna
take this
bicker
pic-
over a
you can take
$100
this picture
sign.
and show them that sign is no longer
I
there.
talked to the engineer, he said, he looked it up, he said it's there. No, he looked it up on his computer, it said there should be a sign there.
I thought there was.
After my
one.
phone conversation with him, I went and
seriously
drove it and I couldn't
I
find
drove
Is
it.
it not?
There's not one though. There's no
It's
sign
not
there.
it. Yeah, it's in the ditch, guaranteed.
If it got hit recently, it's been picked up then because the Lions Club and the Scouts cleaned stuff up. They'd have picked it up. That'd have been a score.
Okay, so I feel like we should at least do this reading tonight and pass it. We're done with one more stage. And then we'll worry about the third reading. Let me talk to their engineer or Dave and keep going. Let's not stop the process now.
Yeah, I don't see why we can't pass it one more time.
Why don't we get a
That makes
Johnson
sense.
County supervisor?
West Branch lives in Johnson County.
He did know
According
what
to
he was talking
them.
about.
All right. Let's get,
According to them.
oh, is Harney still on there? He's smart. He knows. people.
No.
No. I don't have a problem going and talking to one of them or two of them.
Pat Hyden would probably be your most reasonable choice.
Tom Sullivan.
Rod
Right.
Sullivan, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to get this voted on tonight and approved, and then we'll just see what happens after this. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, Leslie, let's move on.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
No,
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yeah. Okay, keep this. Solar flashing beacons, discussion. The same as what we have out here. There's one here and there's one on the other side of Oliphant Street. The school has asked that that it be created as a school zone. A school zone. Marty's told me that's what they would like to see.
I guess I don't understand what's changed. It's never been a school zone before.
There's gonna be a lot more traffic with the middle school. There's people
Really?
crossing.
That's funny because I was told that that wasn't gonna be the case.
Wasn't gonna be an issue. All right.
No, it's an issue we're gonna have to deal with. There's gonna be a little more traffic out there. There's gonna be more traffic. That's all there's to
Well,
it.
I know that and you know that, but that's not what they told us, Roger. They told us that it was going to be the Meadows was gonna cause the traffic issue. It wasn't going to be the school.
that's why the city had to put in the turn lanes because it was city traffic that was causing the extra.
Okay, that's got nothing to do with creating a school zone to slow the traffic down even
Well, if we
further.
have to write a check for
Flashing
it.
lights.
We have to write a check for it, it does.
We got $75,000 from the building permit for that building.
Okay, I have no
Um,
problem
This is a
working
good
with
use of that
the
money.
school to do this. So you make a crosswalk, you put in flashing signs, you have the school put a four-way stop sign in the middle of the road before school and after
I
school.
brought that up many times with you guys and the school. I guess, I don't know why the school's resisting that.
Well,
A
then,
rollout stop sign.
Because of the after hours traffic that, you know,
that the Meadows
I think
created.
they are trying to get a crosswalk person there, a live body there. I haven't
Their
heard-
bus driver can't roll out a sign?
No, I mean a live body for kids that are gonna be crossing the crosswalk. Just like they do at Alton Street and. all
They
those.
care about their kids that go to their school, but they're not caring enough to give us a competent person to stand at a
No, they-
crosswalk?
I think they're gonna do that, but I just haven't seen it yet. It's not really middle school students yet, for one thing, who can't drive. It's,
I get that it's a middle school.
So the proposal of the school zone, 20 mile an hour, I'm assuming.
I think so, yeah.
We
How
have
have
a
we gotten
distance,
along with the?
do we have a
I'm sorry.
distance of how long that would be? Reason I ask is because we're trying to change the speed limit to 25 coming into town, then we're gonna go to 20, then it's gonna go to 25, and then it's gonna go back to 20.
I think it's gonna be, it wants to be on either side of Dawson Drive, the same distance these are from Oliphant, from the crosswalk. What is that? Couple hundred feet? These
I actually
flashing
think
lights?
people are gonna slow down at a couple hundred feet, 5 mile an hour to, I'm just not seeing this.
I don't know why you guys are, I don't know how you could be against creating a school zone in front of a
It's-
school.
I'm not against creating
How we
a
gotten
school
along with
zone.
40 years without it being a school zone?
Well,
And the
because they were
35
high
mile an hour
school
speed
kids
limit.
and they all drove.
So in North Liberty, they had a cooler sign. It was a cooler sign. It was cooler than the ones we got. They
I was
had
gonna say,
these strobe lights on the side too. I mean,
Yeah, they're out there.
Well, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Is that in this package? I didn't see that.
And
This
it
guy
doesn't
right
cost
here.
$8,000.
This guy right here.
Does
It's a
not cost
flashing-
$8,000.
Oh, that's just the speed limit sign that Dave Scheckender showed.
Yeah, I've got
We can do that. but
crosswalks,
It needs to be, it needs to
LED,
say school zone.
solar.
It has a little more power behind it when it says school zone.
For $1,000.
Okay, so this is just a discussion. Matt was ill last week, a few days, so we never really got a bid, a cost put together. Looks like in 2013, we spent $8,000, $9,000. $9,000. I'd expected to be 10 to 12 this time around. For two of them.
I don't know where you order them from because you can,
There are cheaper ones you can put on the steel post, like the stop sign post, would be much cheaper. They may not be programmable. These are programmable,
so are these.
so they
It
flash during
says it right in
school.
here. All the specs.
If you want to order it, I'd put you in charge of it.
It's not just signs.
I haven't approved it. I'm not so sure we need it. I don't like the idea. Or start and stop all the way
It's
down Main
not start and
Street.
stop. It's just slow
Wait,
down and
you-
slow down.
You're talking about changing to 20, aren't you? 20 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Or you you come over the hill going 35, then you slow down to 25, then you slow to 20, then you go to 25, then you slow to 20.
Actually,
In reality, everybody just go 20.
school zone starts right at Cedar, at the gravel road. That's school property. So you have to, if you're gonna make it a school zone, you have to start so many feet within the school.
I'm just trying to protect the crosswalk. is what
I
I'm looking
get it.
for.
I'm just trying to protect our kids.
so are we trying to slow traffic down for traffic control or for the crossing?
One and the same.
No, it's not. Because we don't even know how much crosswalk traffic we're gonna have. We're assuming that there's kids gonna be coming down that street all the time and crossing the road. We don't even know if there's gonna be one kid cross that road.
they're already complaining about it.
You
on
can't
Boise.
say there's gonna be no kids.
3
and not
days
I'm
do
not
anything.
saying there's not gonna be no kids. I'm just saying,
Middle
That-
school isn't even there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's for walking. Colton. I think that's more.
If they're gonna put a person there to get kids safely across the street. That's the responsibility of the person getting them across the street.
Let's give that person a little help, and so they don't get hit by a speeding car, and designate it with flashing lights as a school zone.
Do you think it makes a big difference? I mean, lots of school zones aren't 20, they're 25. So
Yeah, I wouldn't care if it's 20 or
would the
25.
5 miles an hour really make a difference? Could you just just designate it as a
25,
school
School
zone?
zone, 25. That wouldn't bother
You're
me.
just flashing some lights to give people awareness. I mean, obviously,
That's right.
everybody
That's the
that
whole
lives
point.
in town's aware of it, but I guess if you came up over that hill and you didn't live there, here, you might not know there's a school there.
Hey, Chief Hannah. So being you're a traffic so-called expert, what's your opinion? Please.
So the purpose of the special speed zone that we had proposed in the previous item on the agenda at 25 was to satisfy that concern also. It's automatically, that area is automatically a school zone, whether you sign it that or not.
So is not a school zone 20 mile an hour?
Only in our city code. By state code, it's 25. Our city code, we make it 20, which is why we're doing this as a special speed zone at 25 miles an hour.
But that can only, you can make it so it's only during school hours, right? Or before.
Yeah, so I mean, there's other communities that do that too, have variable speed limits based upon the time of the day.
You drive by Regina, that varies during school hours. I think
Right.
it's a
Right.
20 or 25, I don't know which.
And see, that's what I would rather do.
20. 20.
And I would agree with the flashing lights. If we did it that way, I would agree with the flashing lights, letting them know that this is the speed limit right now at this time of
The
day.
lights are flashing.
Yes. That I agree with.
And you
But
suggest that
I
we go down to,
still do think the school needs to step up and have a person, once middle school starts,
I think they need to pay for the sign.
no,
I
they
agree.
have four-way stop signs up the old bus barn.
We didn't create the intersection.
well,
Let me ask you this. What's the speed zone going by the elementary?
20 during school,
Is there a sign that
I don't-
says?
Is there a sign?
No.
there isn't.
on Oliphant Street, yeah, I don't know.
It's 20 all the time.
We don't have any warning signs there. People can drive through there.
But that's in the middle of town, and this is more out
Yeah.
towards the edge, so I can see.
If we don't even, they're not even in the element or in the middle school out there. We don't know how much traffic's gonna come down off of Dawson. Can we just lower it to 25 and come back and look at it if it's a problem? Because we're getting nowhere here.
Okay, well,
I agree.
that's fine. I just wanted to bring the discussion up that solar flashing lights may want to be installed there. So I'm gonna ask Matt to get a real number together. There's probably a 6-month lead time for all we know anyway.
If there's a computer chip in it, it might not be all
Computer
good.
chip.
What type of signs do you want? The last ones we bought, that was simply Matt Buckler chose those, brought them to council, they got approved. You want the same thing, they're expensive. It's, a lot of it's the pole.
It's the pole, it's the
Poles
pricey
are
part.
expensive. I don't remember exactly what that pole was, but I do know that those are really expensive.
Well, it was $9,000, $7,800, $8,700
A piece or
for
for
2
both
of them.
But there are cheaper options. It just depends on what you want. If you want to match those ones, if you want. You can make ones that just light up a speed limit sign, or
How dependable have those been?
those we haven't had a single issue with.
I like the look of those. They look good. They're, it would be consistent then through town, but
I mean, I can get prices on a couple different ones. It's
What budget is this coming out of? If you're talking $9,000-10,000,
I think it should come out of the money we got for the building permit, which is probably the general fund.
I think we ought to wait and see how much traffic is generated. They're not even in session out there. Middle school, where's the traffic coming from?
that's. Because all
It's
the high
still a
school kids
school.
have to drive to school.
What?
It's still a school with kids crossing the highway.
What's changed out there?
It's
Why,
gonna
why all of a
change.
sudden is
consider-
this such a hot button topic? Because a bunch of people got on Voices of West Branch and said it was?
No, that's not where this came from.
Can we just lower it to 25 and see if that does it?
Well, that's enough discussion for tonight. I
You know,
guess.
if we need to put some lights in, we can.
Let's move on. Council consensus on salary range for new city administrator. Does anybody have a feeling?
Depends on their credentials.
Do you have a minimum? One of them may ask. I guess one of them may ask. I
Have
don't
we
know if
put
they
a
will.
minimum down? I would say,
I don't think we did.
I say a minimum ought to be 80 grand.
I'm thinking 75, 80. Actual minimum.
If you're not worth
No,
that,
if
we
we're
don't
gonna get a
want
quality
you.
person. We can't skimp on this,
That's just a minimum.
That's a
is what I'm
minimum.
saying.
depending on experience. I go 80 to 120.
I don't ever put the top number. Why does everybody always want to put the top number? That's what you're gonna pick.
No, we're not.
No, I mean,
Right.
as an employee, they say we're gonna pay between 80 and 120, and you're gonna wanna hire me, then I know you want me. I'm picking 120. I ain't picking 80.
All right, so salary range. I know what a couple of them were already making, some of the candidates. We're right there. So.
Now,
it's-
would I be willing to pay 120? Absolutely. For the right person, for the right person.
I think my opinion is, we are a small town trying to be a big town.
We pay big town prices.
We do pay big
120 is
town
way too
prices.
much, Way too much for me,
We do.
way too much.
We throw money around like it's
Yeah.
falling off trees in the fall.
Well, you get what you
Right.
pay for.
I can't even get flashing lights for the school.
You want
No, we-
$10,000
we do not
flashing
spend money
lights
like it's
when
falling
you can
off
buy
trees.
$1,000. That's what I mean. You have a very high appetite. And it should be below
Okay,
you.
well, I think, anyway, just think about it. We have Zoom interviews on Thursday evening. And if someone asks that question, we need to be prepared for an answer. I guess
We should ask them what their range is.
we might. Well, is that one? of
That
those?
is, yes. You,
That's not
yes.
an appropriate question. We don't come out and ask them what they would have to make to come work at West
What
Branch.
they expect.
No, that's not an appropriate question. You don't ask someone.
Every interview I've had, that's what they've asked.
So at Procter and Gamble, he said, how much an hour?
Not
do you
at
have to make?"
Procter and Gamble, but for any,
At Loprex, they said that.
for a
Most job
managerial,
applications
yes.
Most
They
job
do.
applications
Yes.
have desired pay scale.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was one of our questions too. I didn't.
For a managerial, yes, that is a question.
No, it's not. You've never been in professional ranks before.
I haven't been in the military, no, you're correct.
Okay, so be prepared. That question is out there, or maybe out there Thursday night. City staff. Just wanna go home. Anybody on Zoom, city staff? Oh, yeah, you do.
So there was this Casey's parking lot.
This is parking lot.
I would like to know what to do there, I guess. So I printed this off because this was the minutes from the May 17th meeting where you guys told me what we were supposed to be doing. I just want to know where we're at with it now because I've heard several other directions, I guess. So
I thought it was, we were supposed to be putting the sidewalks and sod in and to see them before September 15th.
That's pretty much what we agreed on May 17th. Sidewalks, sod.
But did we
Grass,
not just talk
seed.
about this couple last meeting or
That
something?
was with me privately. I
No, it
asked-
Well, it
wasn't.
was.
It was right here.
Well, I
Is that
talked to
still our
Tom,
consensus?
I talked to Tom a little bit. Here's my consensus, and that's always been my consensus that we need more parking in this town. There's a spot to put parking. The word is that the old gas station is possibly gonna be a microbrewery. Parking right there beside it, which would probably, I mean, that would take some parking off of the street. We also have a Kroll site that we want to put commercial property on Main Street that probably will need some parking. But we'd rather go the route of putting some grass in and then later, which is going to cost us even more money, turn it into a parking.
My consensus is if we're gonna make it a parking lot, why not sell it to somebody that wants to make it into a parking lot that we get to use? It almost doesn't make any sense whatsoever to use city resources to pave a parking lot for public use when somebody wants to buy it and pave it and use it for public use.
We didn't seem to, well, I didn't think we thought we'd have control of the public part of it.
He says that when he's not using it, people can use it. He's not gonna use the whole thing even
So
when
what
he
if
is.
somebody wants to use it during the day?
He didn't say they couldn't park there. He's just gotta have room for his stuff. How many things really happen during the day anyway? Monday through Friday.
You don't, you know?
If it's grass, I'm just throwing out brainstorming. If it's grass, it can be used. I mean, the Boy Scouts may need a place to go someday again. Farmer's Market could be there.
Apparently the farmer's market doesn't want to move.
Yeah, you're right. They don't want to.
So,
So throw them out of there. I'm tired of hearing that the farmer's market wants to move
All right.
because they don't want to move.
so then Jerry, go up there and look at where the sidewalks are right now. And we all agree the sidewalks probably need to be redone anyway.
They do.
You can shrink that in, and if you look, there's almost room there now to parallel park cars on the streets on both sides. And if you're gonna re-pour the sidewalks anyway, shrink them in a little more and then put on-street parking so it matches the rest of the downtown. You get your green space and you get your additional parking.
So we could do angle parking or angle parking. We could do angle parking.
Roger, you brought up
The
a point.
offset would have to be
You
on
brought,
the sidewalk.
you brought up a point about, do we have to do some engineering to meet the Second Street?
Matt's got that figured out. It's pretty simple. It's just a couple spots that.
we'll just need to pull elevations off of the other sides of the streets. And then when they did Second Street, there's elevations that they pulled for that project. So we
Well,
would do the
No,
So
that's
which
along the
side,
streets.
which side's which? Okay, so here, there ain't even sidewalk there. So to pour a sidewalk, your sidewalk into nothing anyway. So,
But there might have to be an offset to get to this,
right.
to this curb cut here, which is. So I am for, here's what I'm for the sidewalk, allow for some angle parking. That gives,
Okay, how are you gonna
That-
get farm equipment through town?
Same way they always do.
the same angle parking in front of Mexico Lindell that's always been there.
This would
And
actually,
then
that would
angle
actually
parking
be
across from
farther
Hosier's,
away from the street.
angle parking across from Hosier's, we could still get 5 or 6 or 7 stalls there.
I think it's 90 foot there, so you probably, by the time you turn
Maybe
the
8 or
corner,
9.
you'd probably get 7 or 8.
10, yeah.
That's-
That would give us some parking on both streets. The sidewalk might have to have a little jog in it as you go north.
Is that going, is that,
We'll worry about that.
Rogers going that way, is that?
Electric pole,
This is north.
Okay.
sidewalk on that side.
Yeah, right.
That you can put that almost wherever you want, because there's not only that, there's a pole here, there's a fence or some bushes, and there's a fence here, and
That's
there's
right.
all kinds of stuff going on.
With this scenario, if you can understand, it makes sense.
I guess why I was asking is, do we want to bring back the different scenarios and let you guys
This
look
would
at
be-
it and decide and then write it down and say, yes, this is what we, it's just went too many times back and forth and I don't feel comfortable going
Yeah,
down there
man.
and
It's a
making a
definite
choice.
decision. We're not,
So,
he almost needs a resolution because he's going crazy trying to figure out what we're thinking.
I mean, I want to fit it in. It's just that, yeah, I just don't start on it until.
This would be a grass infield.
Well, for one, you can't put sidewalks in until all the gravel and everything that's inside of the
Right. we'd have to
sidewalks is out of there,
Take
so.
everything out.
Core
So
out.
that'd be the first thing we do is probably core out a foot of it and
Well, here's another thing to think about when that gets turned to dirt. I'm pretty sure when they took those tanks out, they filled them full of sand. All right, grass is not gonna grow there. Water goes right through it into the sand. You don't get any water on the grass, it
Do you think
dies.
there's 12 inches of black?
Goes right through.
They let the tanks in there.
No, when they
No,
pull the
no,
tanks out, they fill it
tanks
with
out.
sand.
What if you,
Oh,
what if you
Because it's easy
put,
to fill.
what if you put poly over it?
I think you create a
membrane.
I think you create an issue there.
I don't know. I got, my whole yard is straight sand and I have like 6 inches of dirt on top of it and I get grass when it gets hot, it dies. Like in the summer, I don't have grass in my yard right now up around my house.
Okay,
So
so
that is true. It's
That's,
just-
we're
that's
getting
just,
close.
it's just an issue. I'm just pointing that out.
The other thing you could do, and whatever, it's just another option is if you want to put, instead of having another maintenance thing for us to mow, if you want to put it in a prairie grass, wouldn't have to be something real tall. You can do short prairie grass. You could do something like that too.
That turns
Mow
to
it.
weeds.
Mow it.
put a pickleball cart.
Okay, we might come up with a resolution for next time in the next meeting. So that means can't really do, we can't really do anything till we get that because you're gonna
We
go
got-
crazy.
We have plenty of other stuff to do. So
Okay. We'll work on that next time. Any other staff? Leslie, you have something.
I just have one quick thing. I've been approached by a couple different people who are wanting to use the banner hanger that goes across Main Street, what we normally use for Hoover's Hometown Days. One was the FFA. They asked about being able to advertise up there. I did respond back saying that, while we've only used it for Hoover's Hometown Days, we don't have staff or the equipment to put banners up or take them down, so they would have to do it at their own expense. And then also CDG had asked about advertising up there as well. So I just wanted to get your feedback on whether you thought it would be okay if other people used it, if we maybe created some sort of permitting process for it.
Let them use it with a permit, I think, that we approve, not as a board before us, just in-house. We don't want any inappropriate stuff going on up there. Yeah, so
I think that to be a
it needs to be
permit.
approved by the city.
I don't want Matt to have to, and his staff to have to hang them.
No, No, and I expressed that to this person that responded. I said, right now Oasis Electric is the one who hangs it for us, but they do it as part of their donation to Hoover's Hometown Day. So you would have to, that would be on your own dime, and I don't know what they charge. You'd have to talk to them.
About $60. It'd be about $60, I think. It's about, they
He
charge like
quoted me
$60.
actually more than that.
With a
So
lift
I
truck?
wouldn't say prices, yeah. I wouldn't say, it was actually much more than that.
I would say that I would say that if we do this, we pay the bill to Oasis. That's a part of the fee they pay us, because I don't want the FFA having pickup ladders in the back of their pickup trying to hang a sign because they don't want to pay the $60. And somebody gets hurt and then we get sued because they fell out of the back of the truck while they're trying to hang a sign on our wire. So
God, I don't feel like being a sign installer though.
well, then we don't let them install signs.
Or the sign's
Would be
not
nice.
properly fashioned.
Be nice to be able
Fastened
to
and
figure
it
out a
comes
way
down.
to easily put a sign up and down without having to have a lift.
But people have asked before about advertising. I know the second place they always want to do it is at town hall, but because this is kind of, you can kind of see it a little bit
I
more.
think
that's
Colton's
what-
probably on the right track. You can't let someone get hurt doing
Yeah,
it
and that was
themselves.
my concern. I said, I go, we don't have staff, we just don't have the liability.
We'll make
for
the
that.
phone call to get it installed.
Because even like material wise, when we first decided to hang a banner across there, we had to use mesh material so the wind could blow through it. Because we didn't want it to rip out of the side of the buildings, because we did get permission from the building owners to put
And
those lags in that
maybe that
building.
needs to
So
be done
it's
too.
kind of a liability even for us to allow that, because then, we want to make sure it goes up and it comes back
It's gotta
down.
be a good sign. A
Yeah.
decent sign that lets wind blow.
But I just wanted to bring it up because we've gotten some inquiries on it and wanted to kind of get your feelings, so we can, discuss it a little bit more.
Sounds like if we had to get permission from those building owners to even put a city sign up there, then they'd probably want to know if we're gonna allow somebody else to do it too.
Okay, so we got a little legwork to do there. Contact the building owners. Maybe come up with a permit
But
and rules.
all in all, it's a great thing
Yeah.
to utilize,
Yep.
but it just has to be done right.
Anything else, anybody? Heidi, Hannah, anything else? Nick? Hearing none, that's a no. Comments from mayor and council? At some point, we need to think about an ATV ordinance through town, around town. There's a lot of them. Just brought it up because
I got
We
a
gotta start
question about
thinking
that.
about it.
Can't we just piggytail off the county? We have to have,
off the county, right? I don't know why not. Oh.
I mean, can't we just use the
adopt what
county?
they have.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't counties be in effect in West Branch?
The council, you would have to recognize it since it's a specific Cedar County ordinance.
They're driving around now, right?
Yeah.
So this is,
20 of them.
this is like the approving Gordon's pay that allowing them to work after you already worked.
I know, golf carts are driving around for years too. Okay, last thing, the water quality project. The grant has been submitted to the DNR and they've accepted it. I don't know when we find out. That's all I got.
That
Anybody-
thing I
anything?
volunteered for, so
Vision.
I filled out a questionnaire.
I did too, I filled it out.
So,
I
Good
filled
job.
it out also.
doing all the stuff I'm
We'll
supposed to do.
just wait and see what we're told to do. Show up at a meeting. Anything else, anybody?
Last summer, the House of Representatives and the Senate passed a new emergency medicine bill, sponsorship bill. And it's to kind of break away from the fire, and now that they have emergency medicine recognition, and I'm gonna.
Essential service.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting at.
Yeah, I'm gonna be representing West Branch on that, so Cedar County.
That may include first responders,
Yeah.
possibly.
First responder.
Help our pocketbook a little bit.
Thank you.
Something.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Motion to adjourn, anyone?
So moved.
Nick, second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
I-